Hello there, good evening and welcome to Political Lens on Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now, we are broadcasting on Metro SL TV channel 264. If you are not on Metro SL TV, you can also be part of this show by subscribing to our channel on YouTube. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, talk about X, talk about Instagram, talk about Facebook, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and this evening, we are looking at the call for compulsory sit-at-home in the Southeast on May 30th this year to commemorate and celebrate the fallen heroes of the Biafra War. Now, let's bring in our guests, and I am joined in the studio here in Lagos by Mr. Peter Anosike. Now, Peter is a seasoned reporter, journalist, he is a philosopher as well as a development economist. He's a prolific author who has written so many books, including the 10 Commandments on Money by Dangote's 10 Commandments on Money. Good evening, Peter, and welcome to Political Lens.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I hope I got the title of your book correct.
You said Dangote's 10 Commandments on Money.
Dangote's 10 Commandments on Money.
Yes.
So I was very correct on that. Now, let's get right into the show. Now, the indigenous people of Biafra has declared a sit-at-home on May 30, 2025. This is to honor Biafran men and women who died during the Biafran War. Ipob said the sit-at-home is a yearly memorial, noting that it was a way to remember Biafran heroes and heroines. The group said it informed the Southeast and South-South governors about the plan. IPOB spokesperson Emma Powerful, in a statement on Monday, said the day will include lectures in honor of Biafran heroes, both in Nigeria and abroad. The statement reads, in part, the peak of the yearly memorial remembrance event will occur on May 30, 2025, known as the Biafra Heroes Memorial Day. It is a day designated by IPOB for Biafrans to commemorate and pay tribute to our heroes, heroines, and those who sacrificed their lives in the struggle for Biafra's liberation and independence. IPOB leadership has announced that May 30, 2025 will be a free day, marking a total lockdown for Biafrans residing in Biafra land. Biafrans residing in Biafra land should observe a lockdown to pay tribute to those who battled and perished in the Nigerian genocidal war against Biafra, while Biafrans fought for our independence. We need to commemorate them by spending one day indoors. We urge all Biafrans and every advocate of freedom in Biafra land to comply with this one-day lockdown directive on May 30, 2025. All IPOB family members in their various countries must organize and obtain permits to demonstrate against the unlawful imprisonment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the illegal detention of Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria. Now, for the sake of clarity, this is not VOP media saying, this is coming from the Emma Powerful, the spokesperson of IPOB. It added, there will be no school, no community meetings, no religious services, no opening of markets and stores, and no public assemblies of any kind. Simply stay inside and enjoy television and videos with your family while contemplating the memories and the genocide inflicted upon Biafrans from 1967 to the present day. It is a day for families to recount their experiences of the Biafran genocidal war from 1967 to 1970 and the ongoing victimization, destruction, and marginalization of Ndibo within Nigeria. Well, IPOB has contacted, according to the statement, IPOB has contacted West African Examination Council, WAEC, to inform them of the lockdown directive on 30th of May so they can modify the May-June senior school certificate examination exams scheduled to serve all students. Messages have also been dispatched to the governors in the Southeast and South-South regions to notify them that we will remember and pay tribute to our heroes and heroines who sacrificed everything for us with a lockdown mandate on May 30, 2025. The group said there will be no protest in Biafra land or any part of Nigeria to avoid violence from security forces. Notice, no protest will take place in Biafra or anywhere in Nigeria to prevent being harmed by the lethal Nigerian security forces. Biafrans abroad will gather in the streets of their host countries or organize town hall meetings to express their support in honor of our fallen heroes and advocating for the restoration of Biafra. IPOB and Ndibo across the globe will pay tribute to all our fallen heroes and heroines, including our everlasting leader, the late Dim Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, General Philip Effiong, Chief Dr. Frank Opigo, Commander Ikonso, and numerous others who significantly contributed and fought to avert the genocide and destruction of Biafrans by Nigerian and British governments, along with their allied forces. Every year on May 30th is a significant day for all Biafrans. It's a public holiday for every citizen and non-citizen of Biafra living in the Biafran territory. IPOB prioritizes the well-being of Ndi Igbo and has discovered methods to prevent the Nigerian state from killing our people as we continue to remember and celebrate our heroes. The lockdown will last from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the said day. Only essential workers like doctors, nurses, journalists, ambulance drivers, police, firefighters, and field workers are allowed to go out during the lockdown. Mr. Anosike, this is more like a comprehensive overview of what is likely to happen on the 30th of May this year. It's become a ritual for the Biafran people, even without the IPOB coming out to say that. I spoke to Dr. Ekemeze in the morning show on the morning show in the morning, and he said, look, IPOB doesn't even need to call because it's more like a ritual. It's taken for granted that in Biafra land, they use 30th May every year to celebrate and commemorate the heroes, people that paid the supreme sacrifice with their lives between 1967 and 1970. Now, the direct question is, IPOB has declared May 30, 2025 as Biafra Commemoration Day and called for total lockdown of the Southeast from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with schools, markets, and streets shut down. Now, the people of Southeast have always traditionally celebrated May 30 as Biafra Day to honor those that died during the Biafra War. Must the celebrations come with a Sitathome order that cripples the entire region?
Well, going by the history of the Civil War, those people ought to be remembered.
Okay.
But what I'm not in support is the compulsory lockdown. Understand me? You don't force people to do what is not in their mind. Understand me? Okay. Just like Christmas, Christians remember the birth of Jesus. Okay. But there's no compulsion on anybody. You must not do this. You must not do that. Now, IPOB is a non-state actor. But this is coming like a decree. Okay. Children are supposed to take WAEC on that day. So what happens? This WAEC is the West African Examination Council, and it is the same paper that those in the southeast, southwest, northeast, and so on and so will take.
It's a West African thing.
So there's no way WAEC will use because of IPOB or Biafra Day and they shelf the exam. That's number one. Okay, there's no way if the students in the Southeast miss it, they will not give them another day to retake that paper. They will not be given another day to retake that paper, which means because of this compulsory Sitathome, those children are going to miss that paper. And it's going to affect them in the future.
Okay, Mr. Anosike, before we get into all of that about how it's going to affect the WAEC or what, let us interrogate these things. Does it have a cultural bearing? I ask this question in the light of the fact that in the community where I come from, if somebody dies in our village, if somebody dies, an elderly person, or not just an elderly person, a man that has come of age, maybe like say between 30, anybody that is above the age of 35, if the person dies. Now, in my community, we observe a day of mourning for the person. And on that day of mourning, people don't go to farm and all of that.
What of schools?
No, schools are open. So I'm asking whether, does it have a cultural rooting that the IPOB said, look, let's go back. I don't know if this happens in your community as well, but I know that it's interspersed in several communities in the Southeast. So are they trying to go back, to take us back to history, to say, look, if we have to set aside one day to celebrate our heroes, does it not, conventional wisdom, shouldn't it dictate that, look, we observe a day of mourning for the people that died during the war? So is there anything practically wrong with the cultural synergy, the cultural nexus between having to mourn the dead and saying, look, let's stay away from work on that day? Like most people that are Catholics, on Good Friday, they observe it as a holiday of obligation. They don't go to work. They don't even go to farm and all of that.
And some don't eat meat.
And some don't eat meat. So what are the cultural similarities between what IPOB is trying to do in the modern time, and how does that, bring some kind of relevance to mourning the dead in the present time?
As I said in the beginning, these people, they fought war of resistance.
Okay.
Going by what caused the Civil War
itself.
So they ought to be remembered. Okay. They ought to be remembered. But what I'm against is the way the IPOB is now trying to do it. Understand? Because there's a saying that you are right, ends where another person's own begins. Okay. Understand? So this issue of compulsory, and you're not a state actor, understand me, declaring that you must not go to church, you must not go to work, you must stay in your house. Even students who are supposed to take WAEC should not go. I'm strongly against it.
Okay, well, okay. I understand your position. You are against it. A lot of Nigerians or a lot of people from the Southeast are also against it. Now, let's interrogate the role of IPOB. And you keep calling them non-state actors. Now, don't you think that is because...
Are they not,
no, they are not state actors. But I want us to situate it within the context of the state actors, creating a vacuum that apparently allow the non-state actors to fill in, because you discover that on Mondays, traditionally, in the past 4 years or so in the Southeast, on Mondays, governors say, no, you must come out. The police is going to protect you and all of that. And IPOB, or a version of the IPOB back then, before Nnamdi Kanu said enough of all this. And now those non-state actors were like, no, you don't need to come out. And people were obeying the non-state actors. So was there a vacuum created by the leadership of the Southeast to have allowed these people to take that position?
The issue is this. If we go back to the origin of this Sitathome, mind you, the first Sitathome in Nigeria did not happen in the Southeast. Okay. It was in Lagos that it happened in 2006. Okay. August 2006. And it was announced by Chief Ralph Owazirike. Okay. So then it was under Obasanjo that the first Sitathome happened in Lagos, not even in the Southeast. Because
in respect to what?
In respect of this discrimination against the Easterners. Okay. Understand me?
So Ralph Owazirike called for the Easterners in Lagos to sit at home.
Yes, all the markets were shut.
Okay.
All the markets were, it was a total shutdown of all the major markets in Lagos State. Okay. Then Obasanjo tried to defend it. Obasanjo said that Igbos travel for their mass return in August. Okay. Understand? That the Sitathome was not a success. But we knew what really happened. Okay. And this IPOB, that's MASOB and IPOB, we are built from Mahatma Gandhi's non-violence
resistance.
Yes, resistance. Because sitting at home is a form of protest. Okay. Understand me? So, and Ralph Owazirike schooled in New Delhi University.
In India, okay.
In India. So he studied Mahatma Gandhi, understand, his own form of protest. That is why MASOB was a non-violent organization, which Nnamdi Kanu also copied when he broke away from MASOB. Okay. So they have been practicing this non-violent using their own Sitathome, because if you come out to the street, you might be harmed. Okay. Understand me? So they choose that. But what I'm struggling against is making it compulsory. Understand? They are still Nigeria is a sovereign state. Okay. We cannot have two sovereignties
in one state.
In one state, there can never be two kings in a kingdom. Okay. Understand me? So this is what everybody should be given their kind of the 30th of May. We are going to remember our fallen heroes.
Okay. It's good to commemorate it, but you are in the position that people shouldn't be forced to see that.
Respect them by don't go to work, don't go to the farm. Okay. Understand me? stay in your house and remember them.
Okay, you just raised another talking point now, and the fact that the Sitathome started in 2006 here in Lagos.
Here in Lagos.
And you were in Lagos then.
I was in
Obasanjo
Lagos.
dismissed it as being unsuccessful.
Yes.
But in your own estimation, was it a success?
All the major markets in Lagos were shut down on that very day.
Okay, can you estimate the economic impact it had on Lagos?
Serious
Even if it was,
now,
if it
serious.
was one day.
Because in Andaba, trade fair, billions are made on a daily basis.
Okay.
Understand me? So it has a very serious economic impact. Then
Here in Lagos.
Here in Lagos.
Okay.
Understand me? And then Owasrike was living at Ijesha.
Okay.
So it was when he now relocated to the east that he now carried this thing down to the east. Before he broke away with Nnamdi Kanu. But
okay.
even on that day, Igbos decided to hit to Owasrike's call.
Okay.
Because,
and observe the Sitathome order.
Yes, because
okay.
they felt that Obasanjo regime was anti-Igbo.
Okay.
So that was why. But it was not compulsory.
Okay. Now you have raised another talking point. Both feeling that Obasanjo's regime was an anti-Igbo regime.
Sure.
But we are not going to get into all of that because that could be a discussion for another day.
So I'm saying the reason why it succeeded in Lagos.
Yeah. Now, before we talk about the impact of the Sitathome in the Southeast economy over the past 4 years, now I want us to look at the issue of this lockdown coming on the day that students are writing examinations. I recall that like 4 years ago.
Very, very painful to me.
I recall that 4 years ago, my son, was writing WAEC, and that day happened to be the day they wrote mathematics. And I recall that some of his mates were unable to write mathematics that day because we had to make arrangements for him to go stay near school to be able to write the exam that period. And a lot of people missed that examination. And curiously,
they have to go repeat another year.
Another year, like this year again, the thing is falling on the 30th of May. So now the question is, how much of that impacts on, how does that affect the struggle for self-determination? If you are trying to rescue a people, you are trying to break away people who are possibly, or according to you, oppressed, and you are, on the other hand, oppressing the same people. So how much does that impact on the struggle for self-determination in the Southeast?
For me, the vacuum left between 1967 and 1970 had not been filled in the bureaucracy in Nigeria.
Okay.
Mind you, between 1967 and 1970, schools were shut down in the Southeast. We didn't graduate anybody. At that point in time, Obafemi Awolowo, that's University of Ife, University of Ibadan, ABU, and so on, we are graduating students. For 3 years, productivity was shut down in the Southeast. This vacuum has not been filled up to today. So when you hear that the permanent secretaries, most of them are not from the South, that Igbos are not there, that's one of the reasons. When you hear that in the judiciary, that Igbos are not there, that's part of it.
Peter, are you sure of what you're saying? Because,
very, very well.
Because at the point, the gap was closed. By the time we were in the...
Which year?
Peter, by the time... Okay, in terms of number of people that write JAMB, now, which state does highest in Nigeria?
Which? Southeast.
Okay, in the South... In Nigeria as a whole, which state does the highest number?
I say Southeast.
Okay, Southeast.
Yes.
And so it's been like that since I was in university over 40 years ago. So if you say that gap exists because we haven't closed it, a lot of people will disagree with you because they will think that it is a clear case of exclusion. How many of you, your classmates that finished from University of Nigeria went to Federal Secretariat in Lagos, in Abuja, to fill a form into Federal Civil Service? Igbo people. They do apply for those jobs. Do they get those jobs?
The people already there are bringing their own people. Understand me? Those who are
so
there
it's
already.
Clearly not because it's clearly a case of exclusion, not because we don't have the manpower to fill those spots.
There was a
gap. But the gap has been closed.
When that gap was existing, those people were we are putting their own people that's from the first up to the up. Understand me?
Okay.
So that's why when you go to the judiciary, when you go to the civil service, how many Igbo men have been a head of service in the country?
Okay, Peter, that's another talking point that we could also expand another day. Now, let's go back to the issue. The police have denied knowledge of any Sitathome order by Ipob and assured residents to go about their normal businesses. Are you sure that the police is well able to protect the people in the face of those who may try to enforce the order? I ask this question in light of the fact that on several occasions, governors of the Southeast have said, like Enugu State Governor, at a point, Peter Mba said, look, come out, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to send in the police and all of that. Meanwhile, we understand that an armored personnel carrier was situated in some business concerns, places that the governor has interest in and all of that. And on the day that the people came out, I think about 3 people were killed somewhere in Ogbete Market, and the people recoiled. Now, what do you, the police making this comment that, look, they are not aware of this order, and I've asked people. Anyway, to be very fair to them, they said police will not go to anybody's house to bring out a person. But if anybody comes out, the person will be protected. Now, if you observe, on Mondays, traditionally on Mondays, all the checkpoints within the Southeast, you don't find any of them. So what is the role of the police in protecting the people in hard times, in times of insecurity like this?
Nigeria is Nigeria. That the United Nations standard for policing is 1 policeman for 400 people. Understand? 1 policeman for 400 people. But in Nigeria, we are looking at 1 policeman for 8,000 people.
Okay.
So we don't have up to 2 million policemen in this country.
We have about 330,000.
For a population of what? Over 220 million. You see, so we are under police.
Okay.
We are under police, and it is, and apart from being under police, most of the, over 40% of the Nigerian police are with the VIPs. You can see an individual having 10 mobile policemen. So this is one of the reasons. So that's why the Nigerian people don't trust the governors when they say, come out, police will protect you.
Okay.
Understand me? So for me, my concern, my prayer is that they should make, if they say there should be no market, there should be no people going to the farm, but there should be an exception for the students going to take their exams. Okay. Because I know that most of these people enforcing this don't have their BSc.
Okay.
Because
don't have their 4 degrees.
If you go to, you know what you pass through school.
Yes.
You will not stop another person from going to school.
Probably losing 1 year,
losing 1 year. So
and like the instance I cited, that day was the day they wrote mathematics. And
which is the most critical of all subjects.
Of all subjects.
Without mathematics, you cannot study anything science.
Science, yes.
So for me, there must be an exception. Okay. And if the federal government can help us and draft more soldiers, more policemen to the southeast, okay, so to ensure that children will go and take their exams.
Okay, but a lot of people are calling for demilitarization of the southeast, and you're asking the federal government.
No. This is a special case.
Okay, this is a special case.
This is a special case.
Don't you think it's going to cause some form of anarchy or bedlam in the southeast? I mean, if police people are everywhere and IPOB, those people that try to enforce it, when there's a clash, what is going to be the outcome? What's going to be the result?
The students must be protected.
Okay, the students must be protected. I'm happy that you brought in the federal government in this. Now let's interrogate the reason that even led to the Sitathome order in the first instance. You know, because it started with the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, and the people of the southeast were like, okay, this is our son, is one of our worthy sons who's been fighting for us. Now let us even, stand behind him and observe the Sitathome order. How much responsibility should the federal government take for what has become of insecurity in the southeast, especially with regard to the issue of Nnamdi Kanu? What Nnamdi Kanu is undergoing now, is it prosecution or is it persecution? And why is it difficult for the federal government to look into the reason why the people of the southeast are agitating? People of the southeast, a lot of them are not in a hurry to exit this country. and they say, why don't you open it, make it open for us, conduct a referendum, let us decide whether we still want to be part of this country or not, part of this union or not. And the federal government is not yielding to that request. So how much responsibility should the federal government take? Because it looks like they're like, well, whatever you do in your south is, if you want to kill all of yourself, that's your business. How much responsibility should the federal government take for what the Southeast has become in terms of insecurity?
Well, let me give you a mindset. Remember when President Tinubu went to River State to commission a road under when Nyesom Wike was the governor.
Okay.
Nyesom Wike asked for a refund that he constructed a federal road. Tinubu said, I'm not going to give you a refund. You constructed a road for your people. Do you understand me? Okay. You constructed a road for your people. It's your people that are living there.
Who said?
Tinubu said so.
Tinubu?
Yes.
Told Nyesom Wike?
Yes.
No.
Tinubu went there to commission a road.
Okay, before he was sworn in as president.
Yes.
At that time, Wike was still a substantive governor.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
So, Wike asked for a refund. Understand me? That time, Wike was inviting many APC governors
to come and commission projects.
Understand me? Sure. Yes. So he said that that this is a federal road, that he wants a refund. Tinubu said, I'm not going to give you a refund. It's your people that are living there. You constructed a road for your own people. So this is the mindset which the Nigerian state have been using in the Southeast. If all that Adibo man is asking for, live and let live.
Okay.
That's what an Igbo people are asking in Nigeria.
A level playing field.
That's an egalitarian society where everybody can be free to do his or her own business. Understand me? But they don't want it. And that's the problem now.
So isn't that part of the reason that is fueling the agitation for self-determination?
If Nigeria is working, if Nigeria begins to work today, this self-agitation will die down.
Yes, because I've spoken to a lot of well-meaning people of the Southeast, and they are like, they are more like, Nigeria should be a living space for the Igbo nation, for everybody. We ply our trade in places that we go to, we develop the communities, we intermarry with the people, we take those places as our homes and even develop those places. But why is it that when it comes to the issue of resource distribution, we are excluded? And even at that, I'm not the one speaking. People that are spoken to are like, why don't you just make the place open for people to compete freely?
That's live and let live.
Everybody wants to be part of this country because of the diversity, the strength of that diversity, which they are able to harness. And so now the question is looks like the federal government is indirectly fueling the agitation by their inaction.
That is what I'm saying. This self-determination or separation is being caused by the federal government.
Peter, let me put you on the spot. If a referendum is conducted today, yes or no, what do you think will be the likely result of a Biafra vote?
Those who will vote for yes are voting out of frustration.
Okay, but what number? Which number will have it, the yes or the no? Exit, like Biafra exit.
For me, the no will have it.
A lot of people from the South will want to remain in Nigeria.
For me, the no will have it.
Okay. Now, because we are running out of time, many people, including Professor Chukwuma Soludo, have argued that the South loses about 10 billion naira every Monday to sit at home order. Others are asking, the impact of the term. Some people are also saying, if we lose 10 billion naira every Monday that we sit at home. Now, we just started sitting at home like 3 or 4 years ago. All those Mondays that we gained the 10 billion naira, what did we do with the 10 billion naira? So, is it a fundamental issue of a people's existence, or is it like accidental? As in, maybe we should just forget about our freedom and write as a people and keep making money. What is the essence of the money if you don't have freedom?
Well, for me, In an economy, there's a difference between growth and development.
Okay.
Government always talk of growth, growth, growth. Growth is like a GDP, foreign reserve. This does not impact positively on the life of the people.
Okay.
What impacts is development. Understand me?
Yes.
What impacts is development. But government always emphasizes on growth, growth, growth. Our GDP is so and so. So we should be focusing on the well-being of the people, which is what government should be. The well-being of the people, because that's the only way to measure and function government.
Okay.
The well-being of that, which is development. So for me, we have lost a lot in the 4 years of Sitathome, and it can never be recovered.
Okay.
What we have lost in these 4 years can never be recovered. Some children are now afraid of going to school, because when you are going to school and you see some people beat you, it has some psychological impact. Understand me? So this shouldn't be happening. That's my take.
Okay, now let's go back to the issue of the leadership in the Southeast. What do you think that the elite, the intelligentsia, talk about the political elite, what do you think they can do to stop this Sitathome? Because more like it has endured and it's becoming a problem in the Southeast. But I also like to emphasize the fact that in some parts of the Southeast, business is run on Mondays, like in Omwa here, in Abia State, in so many parts of Abia State, life goes on normally on Mondays. But talking on the general level, what do you think that the leaders of the Southeast, the political elite in particular, the intelligence, including the business elite, what do you think they can do to ensure that this Sitathome order ends, since it is impacting negatively on the economy of the Southeast?
For me, there's a leadership vacuum in the Southeast. Very big leadership vacuum. Today, the people are no more obeying the governors that they elected. They are now obeying non-state actors. Imagine a governor of a state will say, come out. A non-state actor will say, don't come out. People will obey the non-state actor. What does that mean? Is
it an issue of legitimacy, or is it an issue of fear on the part of the people? I don't want to be harmed.
It's not legitimacy. It's not issue of legitimacy.
Okay.
They feel that the non-state actor can do more harm than the government.
Okay, so it is born out of fear.
Out of fear.
Okay, so what now in that case, I keep going back to that question. What do you think that the Southeast, you have agreed with me, you have agreed that there is a vacuum.
That's a vacuum.
What should they do, to close that vacuum so that non-state actors can go back to where they are coming from?
For me, the governors should be more people-oriented.
Okay.
The governors should try to be more people-oriented. As we are shouting discrimination, that federal government is discriminating against us. A state is a mini country. What are the governors doing on their own? What are the governors doing on their own? If the people can be emotionally, excuse me, attached to the governor of their state, they will begin to obey him. Understand me? But when a governor is going with 50 security officers and now telling you to come out, without anything, there's no way you will want to
risk
come
your
out.
life, put yourself in harm's way.
They should start practicing leadership by example. What you want the people to do, start doing it
yourself. Okay, now Peter, before we leave, because we are running out of time, I'd like for us to look at the 25 years of democracy. Do you think that the governors of the 5 Southeast states, the people that have ruled from 1999 to 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015, 19, and 23, do you think that they have done justice to the people of the Southeast in terms of development? I go back to that word development because it's one thing to grow. The Southeast people might have made more money than they did, in the past 30 years or so. But has that translated to development for the people. When you go back to the Southeast, what do you see? What do you see in the faces of people?
We are lucky that we have this can-do spirit in our DNA. That's Igbo people. Okay. We have this can-do spirit. So most of the projects that you are seeing in the Southeast are self-help
projects.
Self-help. So using my own state as an example, between 1999 and 2023, we witnessed no development. The first governor did not lay any good foundation for his successor to build upon. Understand me? And when there's no foundation, or when a foundation is defective, whatever you put on it will fall. So it's only from 2023 that we begin to witness development in Abia State. Okay. So that's how it is in the other states. Anambra states have been more lucky than the other states. Understand me? Okay. Because they had the Ngige, who was forced to be on the side of the people. Okay. It wasn't his real intention. But when he fought out with his godfather, he now has only the people to depend on. And from there, P2B came on.
Okay. All right, Peter, we are out of time. Now, one last question. What do you think that the federal government should do to restore peace in the Southeast?
One, what they should do is to make sure that the security men there go by the book. Okay. Understand me? There should be no bias in their mind. Okay. This is not my people. So whatever happens is not my business. Then we need to also have a federal presence. Okay. Understand me? We also need to have a federal. We need to be treated like the other parts of the country. Okay. Because what is fueling this agitation is that we're not being treated like the other people.
Okay, let me put you on the spot again. Do you think that the release of Nnamdi Kanu is going to thaw the tension in the Southeast?
It will reduce the tension, okay. But it does not mean that there will be outright peace, because criminal armed robbers are still in the Southeast. Okay. Kidnappers are still
just like in other regions of the country.
So there will be the tension will go down.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you very much. This is where we wrap up the conversation. Big thanks to you, Mr. Peter Anosike, philosopher, development economics, and big-time prolific author. One of his books is 10 Commandments of Dangote's 10 Commandments on Money. I keep missing that headline. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Anosike. I appreciate your presence on Political.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
All right, then. On behalf of the backroom staff, I am Chukwuma Okoro. And up next is Issues with Jerry Apollo High. Join us again. Bye for now.